Welcome back into the Lucky Bets podcast with Dylan Corbett. I am Ricky Larson. Took last week off. We're back doing Thanksgiving festivities and everything. Speaking of Thanksgiving, how about pretty much all of the games on Thanksgiving Day? All at least competitive and entertaining, I would say, for the most part. The Bills and Lions. How about that game? I
Yeah,
thought the
you hit it right
Lions,
on the head.
but
Beautiful
yeah,
games throughout on one of the greater holidays, right? Yeah, competitive too. Man Campbell almost had it, but another loss.
very close. Only a 3 point margin there. I imagine the spread was larger than 3 points. Uh,
Yep.
so yeah, if you even bet on what would it be, the under on the spread or with the spread against the spread?
Yeah, so it would have been that's a cash for the Lions who cashed their spread. I think it was 7.5. It could have been more crazy than that, actually, now that I think about it. It might have been double digits. I did hit I teased the under, so that's for the first two games. Didn't need it. I think you had a couple points to spare in that Lions game because it was such a high total. And then I think they scored nothing in the third quarter, and that's what cashed it. But you did need the extra cushion in that Cowboys game, which also was good. But yeah, close games throughout the course of the week.
For sure. Let's take a look at any other games. The Jets, Mr. Mike White making another appearance.
Yeah.
It's a questionable call for me. I mean, why not keep Zach Wilson in against probably the worst defense in the NFL and see what he can give you there? Because you put Mike White in, he goes out, he looks like a stud, like he did the last year in the few games he played. But you got to take it with a grain of salt because it's against the Bears. Could Zach Wilson
Exactly.
have done the same thing?
That's a great point because I mean, what did it do for Zach Wilson's psyche? I mean, the Bears were terrible. What could have Wilson done? But it did. I mean, the offense did look. Your boy Garrett Wilson certainly looked happy to have Mike White back there. Yeah, and the Bears are terrible. Fields, I think they should shut him down. There was all this mystery about whether he would play or not. We'll see, I guess. But yeah, Simeon wasn't exactly the savior the Bears needed. Bears fans are checked out. They want the pick right now. They think they've got a quarterback, so they're hoping for a nice piece to complement him.
Right. And then funny here, I thought Deshaun Watson would be back this week. So I picked the Browns over the Bucks. Turns out it was still Jacoby Brissett. That game went into overtime and the Browns still won. So still cashed that, luckily.
I'm
But
still high on the Bucks. Like I don't. They're still on top of their division. I'm looking at all they need is a home game to where they're going to face someone terrible, and then they're going to have to go to San Fran, where Brady's from.
right.
And then if they win that, they'll go to a dome and face the Vikings. I don't know. I'm still high on the Bucks in just a slop fest of the NFC.
Yeah. And Chris Godwin looked very impressive. Of course he did, sitting on my bench. So made sense.
The last
Yeah,
two I had from last week was Raiders having a shock OT win. That's crazy. And then Cardinals, no win, but the cover. Thank you, Brandon Staley, and the 2-point conversion. Gutsy call. Chargers keep on rolling.
yeah, no kidding. And then yeah, with that Raiders game, goes to OT and Josh Jacobs just breaks off a big one. And that's kind of how you want to see OT end, is just
Yeah,
some big
right.
crazy play. So that was a lot of fun. We will hop into DFS where we are now currently tied.
Oh,
And we will throw last week into the draw column as well. So I think we're 5-5-2
hey, how about that?
over the season. I'll start off with my quarterback this week. I was like, I'm not gonna overthink it too much. I'm just gonna go through, look, see who I like matchup wise, throw them in. So quarterback, I'm going with Trevor Lawrence. Great matchup going up against the Detroit Lions. Pretty cheap as well, 5,900. Made some plays last week, and I feel like you can bet on just about anybody going up against Detroit's defense.
Agreed. And their offense is not bad too, so that could be a shootout as well, which gets Lawrence even more projected possible points. I'm rolling with your 20, what are we at? 2022, 23 MVP. It's a lock at this point. It's Mahomes. I'm going Mahomes. He does this every year. Let's see, who do they have? Oh, they got the Bengals, so this should be a really good game. Rematch of the AFC Championship. Bengals are good, but like, does anyone on that defense scare you? Not necessarily compared to, Mahomes. So I like Mahomes 8,300. Spending big at quarterback.
There you go. I'm going with, for my first running back, Josh Jacobs. Just mentioned him. Had a pretty big week last week. Now he's going up against the Chargers, who have just a god awful rushing defense. He is questionable, so it could be a risky play there, but I'll take him. Hopefully, hoping for another big week. He's 7,900, and then it pains me to take the second guy because I do have DeAndre Swift in a league, but it just seems like Jamal Williams is the guy cashing in all the time with
Yeah.
touchdowns, everything like that. Going up against Jacksonville, he's 6,000, so get to spend a little less than if I took another top guy. I'm kind of just hoping that Williams is again able to get in the end zone one or two times.
I'm rolling Jacobs with you again, keeping an eye on that questionable. We'll see if it's Amir Abdullah. I mean, he was questionable. He was late questionable this week, and he played, and of course, he had the monster game. So hopefully, we're in the clear, but we'll see. And then, yeah, I'm spending big money up here up front. So I'm going Jacobs Mahomes, and I'm going to throw on the other side of this game. Let's go Eckler.
There you go.
I think this is going to be a fantasy bonanza game. Las Vegas Chargers. I see a lot of points. Herbert's starting to get a little bit more into a groove. He's finally, now that my team's fully out of the fantasy playoff mix, now Herbert's finally doing something for me. I'll go Eckler and Jacobs for running backs.
There you go. I'm officially out of two leagues, one of them being my own, but I've won, I think, 6 in a row in my buddy's league and just pushed myself into that fourth spot. So
I'm in, the 4 spots are always tough. I'm in 7 leagues, totally out of it in 1. And I think I have a shot. So I'm going to be in the playoffs in 4. And in the other 2, I basically have to win out to make it.
right. There's still an outside chance in my league, but I would need literally everyone to lose, and I win every week. So it's not going to say never, but we'll see. Going into the wide receiver position, I kind of spent down here, but some high potential with all of these guys. I think we're going to go with Garrett Wilson going up against Minnesota. We've seen plenty of wide receivers do good things against Minnesota. Garrett Wilson coming off of a big week. Who's his quarterback going to be? I don't know, but we're gonna roll with it. I think he's super talented. I love him, so we're gonna go with him. We're gonna go with Christian Watson going up against Chicago. Again, we just talked about Chicago's defense not being great. Garrett Wilson just had a huge week last week against them. And Christian Watson, I think maybe we can start being believers again because it's been a sustained amount of time of him getting touchdowns, having big plays. Last week, even with Jordan Love coming in, he got a big touchdown out of that with a catch and run. So we'll go Christian Watson there. And then give me George Pickens going up against Atlanta. Atlanta's not a great defense either. Pickens, I believe, had a decent game this past week against the Colts. So we'll throw him out there as well. All of them in succession are 5,300, 5,200, and 5,100. So spending a little down, which is not normally what I do with wide receivers, but I think the potential is there for all 3 of those guys.
Kind of that week because I find myself spending down as well. Most expensive guy I'm going is St. Brown. Looks like he's a little bit more healthy. Like the matchup there, obviously against the Jaguars. Staying in that game, Zay Jones popped for me. I picked him up in 1 league, started him. Holy crap! But it's a little bit of the Patriots, phenomena for me, where it's like, could it be Marvin Jones Jr. this week? He caught a touchdown. Is Akuda going to be maybe a little bit all over Kirk? Is he going to be over maybe Zay Jones? Who knows? Maybe that one side of the field. So I'm rolling with Marvin Jones Jr. Hopefully he can get in the end zone. Maybe your boy Trevor could throw to him. That'll do me a favor. And then lastly, this guy I picked up, this Giants receiving room is so decimated. Richie James, garbage time touchdown. But they are looking his way. He put up a really respectable fantasy line. Again, the garbage time kind of made it. That was a garbage time cover for the Giants, and then a garbage time touchdown as well for James. But again, I'm playing the price there, 3,800, and if he gets me, close to 20 again, holy crap, that's going to be a sleeper pick.
There you go. With my tight end, this is the first time I'm spending up on a tight end, and I'm glad I'm doing it since your quarterback is Holmes. We're going to go with Travis Kelsey going up against Cincinnati. He's
Nice.
7,900. Really, you don't need too much of an explanation with that.
No.
You're just playing
Nope.
Travis Kelsey. So, kind of excited to have a big boy tight end in there for one of the first times this season.
Yes. You know me, I'm rolling with the duo. Let's go with Fryermuth, who's turning into arguably one of the more reliable tight ends, outside of Kelsey and Andrews, right? Because everyone else is basically streamers. And then Njoku's a guy that let's hope he gets healthy again and gets back to kind of that, hoping for a touchdown there. Who knows what he's going to do with Watson, though, which might be interesting, but maybe the upside's there. So I'll roll with Fryermuth and Njoku.
Yep, Njoku's sitting in my flex as well.
Boom.
So we'll see what happens. He's kind of burst on so far this season.
Mm-hmm.
He's had some injuries, but for the most part, he's been a pretty decent tight end, and he's honestly super cheap at 3,900. So
Right.
going with that. And then defensively, I'm always going low as I can. We're going to go with the Steelers going up against Atlanta, only 2,600. That Steelers defense is a lot better with TJ Watt on the field. They've been showing it. And Atlanta, who knows what you're going to get out of their offense week to week, but I think it's going to be a tough matchup going up against the Steelers.
I like it. Speaking of having another guy back, sorry, my wife is calling me. Let's see. Okay, yes, I'm going with the Titans. Hooker, he's been back. He's one of their two safeties. He's actually been like a really good IDP play if he played defensive players in one of your fantasy leagues. He's been out for a while, came back. Titans have not been, talk about super cheap, 2,200. And let's see, who do they have? Eagles. I mean, that's not a great team to be going against, but I'm not a big Hurts guy. I think he's coming back down to earth a little bit. So
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at Washington, they had a pretty decent game against them, and you just never know when those games are going to come, and this could be one of those weeks.
Washington Commanders defense, I picked up, I think against maybe it was the week before, but I can't get rid of them. I keep rolling them out there. It's crazy.
Yeah, I played them the past 2 weeks, and what was it, week before? Yeah, he scored like 20 points. I was like, There we go. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Point out some lines for us this coming week. We didn't do that at the top of the show, but I don't have any prop bets, so we'll throw it here at the end of the show.
I like it. There are some big lines this week, so that's what I'm kind of keying in on. I'm going to Thursday night football. It's every single one of these Vikings games. They could either win or lose. Patriots looked like their offense looked good against a Titans team. Bills, divisional matchup. I think if you get this outside, if this is a field goal game, you're going to cash the Patriots there. I'm keeping an eye on the Patriots at home. Maybe they get that one there. How about the Deshaun Watson revenge game? What, he's starting in Houston? Oh my God. There's going to be survivors there in the crowd. I don't know what's going to happen. I was on Houston this past week, but they nearly backdoor covered. One of these games, Houston's just going to win, and it's like, if you're going to keep taking the big spreads, even though they're so bad, why not? What's interesting is this is only a touchdown spread with Deshaun coming back. It's like, huh? So that's why I think the Texans might be a play because everyone's on the Browns. You'll hate this one. Broncos, again, one of these days they're going to cover these big spreads. Crazy. Russell Wilson's so bad. And speaking of bad, my Colts, dear God, I didn't play him against the Steelers. It was a coin flip to me. But if you're getting 11 points against the Cowboys in an NFL game, I like 11 there. Just some lines I'm keeping an eye on.
For sure. I don't mind the Ravens Broncos one. Ravens just came off that loss last week.
Right.
I finally watched a Broncos game for the first time in quite a few weeks. I haven't been missing much. We'll just say that. So it's
just like you left them.
Embarrassing. I don't mind the Browns and Texans as well, because what are we going to see from Deshaun Watson? When is the last time we actually saw him play a game of football?
It's
It's
been
been
like
a
3 years,
Yeah.
three total years. Yeah.
So we don't know exactly what to actually expect from him. This Browns offense, they're expected to go out there and, oh, we've got Deshaun Watson and just start lighting it up. I think it's going to be a slow, just getting things kind of lined up in a game, because you don't know what's going to happen until you get out there and play an actual game.
I'm excited to see what the crowd's going to be like. I hope they just give them hell. Like, are people going to be dressed up as something? Like, the signs are going to be funny. Like we were kind of robbed of a little bit when the Astros did that in baseball, like, because then fans went away after we found out they were cheating. But I hope Houston steps up and their fans just give Watson all sorts of hell.
That would be a lot of fun to see. Um, what is the line with the Saints and the Bucks? Because that might
Let's
be
see.
interesting as well to me.
Yeah, Saints +4 I'm seeing right now. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. Are the Bucks going to keep losing? They can't lose all these games. I mean, they're sitting pretty just on top of the garbage pit that is the NFC South, but you got to take care of business when it comes down to it.
Well, and let's be honest, the Saints looked atrocious last week. Alvin Kamara, uh, looking like Melvin Gordon instead of Alvin Kamara out there last week, just fumbling inside the 5. Uh, it really hurt me when fantasy would pop up and say Chris Olave and Juwan Johnson are in the red zone. I'm like, all right, let's get a score. Just give it to one of
Yeah.
them, and then all of a sudden the Niners have the ball. I'm like, what the hell happened?
That was
So
my favorite. Was I got the Colts? The Colts are in the red zone, and then of course they could have won that game. The fumble exchange handoff. Whose fault was it? Was it Matt Ryan's? Was it Taylor's? Jeff Saturday doesn't know how to call a goddamn timeout. I mean, it's just a mess.
yeah, it'll be an interesting week. Last week was fairly interesting as well. I also kind of wanted to talk about the Eagles and Packers. 73 total points.
Hmm.
I never expect the Packers to be in any sort of shootout game, and 33 points seems like a lot of points for them to score. So it'll be interesting to see if Aaron Rodgers even plays this next week, or if it's going to be Jordan Love. Which, if it is Jordan Love, I'm intrigued by that because the Bears defense is so bad. Let's see, Jordan Love can pull a Mike White. Who knows?
Agreed.
And again, we kind of talked about the Jets and the Vikings. We'll see how that one goes. Just see who the quarterback is for the Jets. I wouldn't mind seeing Mike White roll back out there. Let's see another
I
week
think you
out of him.
got to at that point. Again, we both kind of see through it. It's like, all right, it's the Bears. A lot of people could do that, but he looks like he's playing with confidence. I will say.
All right. Excuse me. Well, that is it for this week of the Lucky Bets show with Dylan Corbett. Check out all of his stuff everywhere. Dylan_Corbett, YouTube, Twitter, all that stuff. Got all of his lines up throughout the week. I'm glad we didn't have to talk about Ohio State at all. I just would rather not touch that. So
I
we'll
will
get out
say,
of
I think there might be some carnage this weekend. So who knows? Like, what if Michigan loses? What do you do with Ohio State? Bama sniffs around all too much. Until they are beaten down and dead, I expect Bama to be in the college football playoff.
Yeah, I would honestly rather Ohio State not get in, so we don't embarrass ourselves like we did last week. But,
Stroud lost the Heisman too. Caleb, how about that?
Yeah. All right, so that's it. We will see you guys next week. Thanks for joining us.